was the thinking in hiring two guys as coordinators who hadn't done it before, and what qualities have you liked in Chad and Patrick that made you go in that direction?
Well, it's two guys that I know very well, that I trust, that are bright, that are good football coaches, and guys I felt like had all the qualities and had what it takes to be good coordinators. So, I'm confident in both guys, uh, and I'm looking forward to watching them grow and improve and get better, as we're all trying to do.
If you'll oblige me a bit, can you recall a specific lesson or memory you have from New England that's helped you since you took over here or this week?
Specific. There's a lot of moments. One specific. I tell my players a lot of times. I hope my expectations aren't, my goals and my expectations aren't bigger for you than they are for yourselves. So I was in a meeting once, and Nate Ebner was the player, and he asked me, "Hey, coach, and I was a position coach. He says, "Hey, coach, when you're calling plays one day, are you going to call this or that?" And I said, "Nah, that's not in the cards for me." This was, I don't know, 2013 or 14 or something. And he says to me, "I hope my goals for you aren't bigger than your goals for yourself." So, that was one thing for as a memory, something I've thought about, and I took that. And that night I thought to myself and said, "You know what? He's right." And I took a whole new outlook on things from there.
More generally, what do you think is a reason that the New England organization has been able to sustain prolonged success?
My continuity is, the first thing that comes to mind. And then, they got good players, good coaches. There's a system in place, a culture in place, and it's a group of guys that work hard, that understand the game, and they have good leadership, really across the board. So all those things, amount to sustained success, I believe, and they do a good job at all those things.
What impressed you most about their performance on Sunday night?
They played well in all three phases: offense, defense, kicking game. They coached the game well. They played with good fundamentals, technique. They played well all around. So it wasn't one particular area, which I think that's the thing that's impressive. They put pressure in all phases. Every snap counts. That's the kind of approach they take, and it's a good approach to take.
Brian, this defense, one you call plays for, it's one Chad O'Shea has seen, for many years as well. This is the defense for you guys to get the offense back on track this week, right?
Excuse me?
Is this the defense that you guys have insight on that can help the offense get back on track?
That's a good defense with a lot of good players on it. It's a veteran defense. They can make adjustments. They're big, they're fast, they're physical. And we're going to have to play well really across the board. From a communication standpoint, from a technique fundamental standpoint, from a making play standpoint, to have success against this defense. They've got a good scheme. They're very multiple. And yes, we know them. But, at the same time, we got to do a good job executing.
What has to happen to improve the run?
First, I would start with communication. Identifying what they're in, communicating, getting aligned, and then defeating blocks and tackling. I would say, at the forefront of that is tackling. There's a lot of yards after contact last week. Something that we've harped on the last couple of days, and we'll work at that today. And the hope is to get better at that. And if we tackle better, that'll go a long way for us as a total defense.
I'm sorry. And
No problem.
how do you work on the tackling in practice?
Well, we got pads on today. We'll work a couple of tackling drills. Some of them, we're gonna have some contact in practice today, and I think we need that. I think we need that as a team. I think we need that defensively. I think we need it in the kicking game, and we'll just continue to work at it.
I guess following up on Ronald's question, as a league, do you feel like tackling has sort of waned because of the rules they kind of employ on what you can and can't do in practice?
I think that's something that, as a defensive coach, is something I've harped on. I think it's, can be a little bit of a lost art at times. It's something that, we try to place a major emphasis on, from a technique standpoint, from a keeping your head up standpoint, from a running your feet standpoint, from a wrapping up. And, in every game you see one of those nuances that isn't performed correctly. But that's us. We're part of that as well. But it's something that we need to train our players on better. And yeah, the rules are the rules though, and we've got to coach through that. We've got to find ways to continue to work on tackling and get better at it, regardless of the rules. I mean, they are what they are. No problem.
I think Ryan was hit 10 or 11 times on Sunday.
Yeah.
What are you doing this week to limit that, and are personnel changes part of that calculus?
Well, I think it starts with communication. I think it starts with identification of the front, identification of the possible blitzers, and then winning our matchups, and just playing with, inside out, better fundamentals, better technique. And I think that's what it is for us this week. It's about, this week to me is about the Miami Dolphins. It's about us improving and getting better individually, and if we do that, then hopefully we improve as a team. So that's kind of where my focus is. This team, the individuals on this team, this coaching staff, and improving on what wasn't a good performance last week.
I wanted to ask you, I'm sorry, are you considering lineup changes for the offensive line?
Oh yeah, we're considering lineup changes. We're considering we got to be better. So everything's been considered, I would say, over the last couple of days. It's a lot of self-scout, a lot of reflection. Some things that we need to do better. We've talked about that. We're going to try to improve those. It starts today in practice. That's the great thing about this game, or great thing about this opportunity, is that we have an opportunity to go out and practice, improve, get better, and right some of the wrongs from last week.
I wanted to ask you about the anniversary of 9/11 as a native New Yorker. I'm guessing it might have impacted you in some way. What do you remember about that day, and how did it affect you?
So, the first person I think about is my uncle. So my uncle, Darrell Patterson, he actually got me into football. He was a fireman. During that time, he was on sick leave, and he was part of Ladder 118 in Brooklyn, which was the first truck to go in. So nobody came out from that group. He was on sick leave. He had cancer, so he was obviously still devastated by the loss of all the guys in his firehouse. So I spent a lot of time at that firehouse, and 9/11 brings back those memories. I was in college at the time. Obviously, it was a tragic attack, and I think I remember football bringing a lot of people closer. So that's what I love about the game. It unites. Even in times of when there's anger, pain, distress, displeasure, the game and teams unite people. That's one thing I love about the game. Take for us, for example. There were guys who were disappointed. There were players who were disappointed. There were coaches who were disappointed. There were calls that we wish we had back. We had plays they wish they had back. The good thing about the game is, you got 52 other guys and a bunch of coaches who they've got your back, and despite your flaws, they take care of you and they still love you. So that's the beauty of the game. It's something that that's why it's so near and dear to me, and that's why I love going out here. If you guys let me out here, I'll get out there a little bit faster.
How often do you think back to those small rooms you were early in your career, with whether in the scout department, with Juan, or the coaching with that?
Yeah, I think back to them a lot. This role is very different. Back in those days, I was one of the guys. I'm not one of the guys anymore. I'm the guy everybody kind of walks away from. But I still try to, a big thing for me in coaching and in this business is, but to me, it's about relationships. Building trust with your players, with your coaches, and, with everybody within the building. Equipment to IT, to my security team that everyone's always messing with me about. I think that's what this is about. I try to build relationships. I think that's important. I think that's how you build a team. I think our team is starting to do that. I think when you go through tough times, those relationships, they either get stronger or they don't get stronger. I think last week was a part of that, and I think, hopefully we come out of this stronger.
What were the chess matches like in practice when you were running the defense going against Tom Brady every day? And do you have something that you can take from that where you get inside his head and maybe have some thought on what he might be looking for in any particular?
Not a lot of people get inside his head. He's a great player. He's somebody I have a lot of respect for. I have a lot of respect for a lot of guys on that team. But him especially. He's a great leader. He's a great person. But he's a competitor, and so am I. And we've competed against each other, and we've gone back and forth. But he's a good friend also. But he knows that we're going to be ready to compete. I know that they're going to be ready to compete, and that's the challenge this week. To play against a great player, great team. They play well in all three phases. Between he and Bill and the ownership there, they lead the charge, and it's going to be a great challenge for us. But that's why we love the game, because we love challenges, we love to compete. So to me, this is fun.